A political bloc led by Iraqi Shia cleric Muqtada Sadr has won the most seats in parliamentary elections. He is a long-term adversary of the United States. This is the country's first election since the fall of ISIL. Sullivan Javed has more from Baghdad.
Muqtada Sadr may have won the 54-seat majority in the election, but he's much short of the 165 seats required to form a majority government, meaning that he's going to have to form coalitions and alliances with other political blocs who are either close to Iran or other elements who he's been very critical of, saying that the incumbent government, as well as others who've also been in power previously, are corrupt and they need to be changed. Muqtada Sadr has been indicating that he's willing to work with others to form what he calls a technocrat government. This is a government of experts, but he hasn't given any specific details of how will it be formed. But then again, talking about a government might be very early days, because it could take weeks, if not more time, to form this coalition, a coalition that will have to decide on who is going to be the Speaker of the Parliament, the Prime Minister and the President. And there are other contenders as well, including Hadi al-Amri's Fatah bloc, which is 47 seats according to these results. We are hearing that Hadi al-Amri has been in touch with various political factions and trying to form his alliance to get to this magic number of 165. So yes, Muqtada Sadr may have won the highest number of seats, but he's not. It's not confirmed that whether he will be the one calling the shots to form a government. There is an emergency session of the parliament because these election results have been delayed, and there are a lot of grievances that multiple political parties have come with, and they are going to be meeting in the parliament on Saturday to discuss them.
Well, Arash Aramesh is a national security and foreign policy consultant. He says the election results are not unexpected.
These elections and these results are surprising for one reason, yet not surprising for a whole host of reasons. It's surprising that the Syrian bloc led by Muqtada al-Sadr managed to beat the bloc led by the sort of Hadi Amri. Hadi Amri is the sort of leader of the Badr militias, very close to Iran. He played a key role in organizing what was the sort of popular front militias, or as they call it in Iraq, Hashd al-Shabi. His list came second. And then the third list was the list of current Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi. And they came third, despite the fact that Prime Minister Abadi was trying to take sort of credit for having defeated ISIS. But again, Muqtada campaigned on a number of things. First and foremost, he campaigned on sort of a combination of Shia sort of downtrodden pain, at the same time a lot of nationalism and populism. Secondly, we all know that his name is pretty well known. His father and his grandfather and his uncle's name is pretty well known in Iraq. So that provided them a lot of sort of ammunition. At the same time, smart in creating coalitions with other political figures and political parties. We now know that even members of the Iraqi Communist Party, a female communist, has won elections in Najaf, a very, very, very religious town in Iraq.
Rob Matheson looks back at how Muqtada Sadr rose to prominence.
Muqtada al-Sadr's election win is a surprise. He's described as a Shia resistance leader in Iraq, but he's rebranded himself as an anti-corruption campaigner, and that's resonated with Iraqi voters. The son of a leading Shia Muslim scholar, Muqtada al-Sadr rose to prominence even though he didn't have the religious degrees needed to become a scholar. The US invasion in 2003 was his launchpad to national politics. He added his voice to widely held anger against US forces. As Iraqis fought back, the sprawling Baghdad suburb, once known as Saddam City, was renamed Sadr City. Al-Sadr's militia, the Mahdi Army, became the main provider of basic services to many Iraqis there. And it was from Sadr City that the Mahdi Army launched 2 uprisings against US troops. Many Iraqis accused the Shia Mahdi Army of targeting Sunni Muslims. Later, Mahdi Army fighters played key roles in building Sadr's political bloc. Al-Sadr won parliamentary seats in the 2005 election, but he disagreed with the then Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki over the continuing presence of US troops. In 2007, he went into self-imposed exile in Iran for 3 years after pressure from US forces and pro-US Iraqi leaders. As ISIL seized control of large parts of Iraq, Sadr severed all ties with Maliki's government. In 2014, Sadr's followers filled the streets of Baghdad.
A chance should be given to efficient, independent people, and those who took Iraq to the abyss should step aside.
Al-Sadr has tried to reposition himself as an Iraqi nationalist, but open to dealing with all sides, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Iran, able to criticize both Iraqis and foreigners, and yet negotiate with them. Al-Sadr has emerged as an influential political figure, often shunning the limelight until there is a populist issue to highlight, such as electricity shortages or government corruption. Now he leads a religious organization, controls a political bloc of electable politicians, runs a print and TV media empire, and some non-governmental organizations. Muqtada al-Sadr's tactics have won him an election and the support of Iraqis calling for change. Rob Matheson, Al Jazeera.